And, we moved into our new house. I mean, we both knew we couldn't run away from this thing. We moved into our new house. We thought we could maybe buy ourselves a little bit of peace for a couple of months. And the first night in our new house, I woke up at 9 o'clock the next morning, and I heard thump, 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 thump. Run outside in my underwear, and over our house, 400 feet over our house, is this huge olive drab four-bladed helicopter. And as soon as I come out of the house, I raise up my phone, and it peels off and takes off into the distance. And it's kind of like, welcome to the neighborhood. Their way of letting me know, hey, we know where you're at.
Yeah, I think they do it for intimidation, to intimidate you. And that's the scary part. Now, is it an actual helicopter, which some people think it is, or is it an ET disguised as a helicopter, cloaked as a helicopter?
It could be. I took photographs of these things, and I've got a friend. You might want to have him on your show sometime, Dr. Bruce Solheim. He's a professor of history at Citrus College in Glendora, California, and a smart guy and a very psychic guy. But he used to fly helicopters for the Army before he, went and got his undergraduate and did his doctorate. And he knows everything about helicopters. Matter of fact, he married a flight instructor. So between he and his wife, they know everything about helicopters. And I sent him these pictures. And he says, oh, yeah, this is a Robertson R-22. This is a Robertson R-44. This is an Airbus 350. And this is just flat military. And he laid them out for me in categories. Now I know what they look like. So they might be something other than helicopters. I mean, I think they can they can take on whatever appearance they want to take on. But you make a good point there. They may not be helicopters at all.
They might not be, but they're there for one reason, to intimidate you. It's funny, not Calvin Parker, but James, the gentleman we have on all the time, that the phone lines go crazy with about his implant.
Oh,
Timothy Collin.
Oh,
yeah,
Timothy.
There we go.
Yeah, every time we've had Timothy Collin on, the lines, when we start talking about certain things, about what happened, his phone line goes crazy. So, Then he contacts me back here about 2 months ago. He goes, hey, I got a new phone. I had the lines checked out. I also, for backup, bought a military-grade cell phone. We're not going to have no problems anymore. And I'm happy. I get him back on the show. We start talking certain things, and guess, you know what? The phone line. As soon as we mention certain things about his implant, what happened, and all that stuff, the lines go bad. And then,
it's happened to me a dozen times.
Yeah, so we figure, okay, this is kind of weird. The phone company checked out his phone line. He has a new phone. It shouldn't be doing this. So we then say, okay, I'll call you on your cell phone. Again, we checked it all out. It worked fine. We bring up the subject. Well, he has a cell phone on. The same thing happened with his cell phone.
Yeah.
Now, I find that very hard. You first a landline doing it, and then a cell phone, which is not even connected with the landline, doing the same thing.
Yeah. I got a buddy of mine I went to law school with who, when we got out, he went to work for the IRS and then eventually for Treasury. And he's working for Treasury and hadn't talked. We talk once or twice a year. And he called me from his office around Christmas time in 2018. And we're talking on the phone, and he says, "Hey, I'm gonna call you back." Now he uses for his cell phone. He's got a separate for personal use, a sat phone. It's a satellite phone. It doesn't ping off towers. It pings off satellites. It's what like captains of a vessel at sea use, because there are no towers out in the middle of the Pacific. So he calls me from his sat phone, and he says, my phone, because he works at Treasury, the phone on his desk in his office has two little lights on it. One says secure, one says unsecure, and the unsecure light lit up on his phone. And he says, somebody's listening to you.
That's scary.
So, yeah.
Wow. So we only got a couple minutes left. What is your next thing? What is the last encounter you had? Have you had anything lately at all since you've been going to, these conferences and all this stuff?
April 29th, last year, April 16th, 2019, I had what I think is a documented abduction. I at night I wore a T-shirt with a pocket in it, and it's a longer story than I can tell you in 60 or 90 seconds. But
you actually got about 6 minutes.
Okay, I'll tell you as much as I can. I woke up at 5:55 a.m. out of breath and sweating, and I woke up just in a panic. And I told my wife, I think I'm having a heart attack or something. She called an ambulance, took my blood pressure. My blood pressure was 220 over 110. My pulse was tachycardic. But I never had chest pain. And the ambulance got there and took me to the hospital, gave me some oxygen. It's normal routine. They do cardiac enzymes, chest x-ray, EKG. Everything turns out fine. They keep me 6 hours for observation and kick me out. Well, I go home and think, great, now I got $800 worth of medical bills. And I get home, and around 7:30 that evening, I told my wife, I'm going to go out and do my walk. Well, I try to walk 1.5 miles a day. I got a health app on my phone, on my Apple iPhone, and I can send you the screenshot from this. At 5:32 a.m., my phone says that I climbed 6 flights of stairs. Now, I don't have any stairs, and that's 31 minutes before I woke up. I was asleep beside my wife. And then it shows, whenever you walk, there's a graph that shows the y-axis on the left shows the height, in stories, 10 feet for each story. And then the left axis, as you move from left to right, shows passage of time. So when I climb stairs, as I climb a flight of stairs, a minute or two passes, and I get this stair step type readout on this graph. So I flip over to that graph, and there's one bar going straight up. I took my phone to T-Mobile, and I'm like, what's going on with my phone? Is this a malfunction? They checked my phone out. I took it to Apple. They checked my phone out. There's no malfunction with the phone. But between 5:23 and 5:24 a.m., I was 60 feet above my house.
Uh-huh. Probably in a cloak UFO.
Yeah. I can send you that. It's pretty compelling. Now, some guy, I was talking about it on another show, and some guy calls in and says, "Oh, I know what you did. You put that on a what do you call it, a drone, and sent your phone up in the air 60 feet, and brought it back down." I was like, "Yeah, right." And I dropped $800 on medical bills for just for fun too.
Yeah, and who can afford that?
I got the bills. I can send you the bills. That's not a problem.
Yeah, who can afford that? Now, Terry, I think James has. James, you got like 3 minutes to ask questions. Go ahead.
Yeah. With that implant, Terry, did you ever maybe take a compass or a EMF meter against it to see if you had any results?
I never did that, but I did have an interesting event when I was with the Kling brothers in San Antonio. They're the guys that used to have a show called Ghost Lab, and they wanted to interview me. And in the middle of our interview, as we're wrapping things up, my clip-on microphone fell into my lap, and their sound guy presses his headphones against his ears, and he goes, "Shh," tells everyone to hush. And by instinct, I picked up that mic, and I held it right over my right knee. And this guy gets this look on his face, and he says, "I can hear music." And he says, "I can hear mariachi music." And then there's talking, and my leg was acting as a receiver and was or a transmitter, and was receiving and retransmitting a radio station from Mexico.
Wow. That's crazy.
And they had, Kling Brothers have that on video.
Amazing. One quick one. When you were on that craft, how many people do you think that you seen on there?
You know, it was difficult. I could only move my eyes, and I could see. Now, I do know for sure it was a mixed bag of men, women, and children. My guess is anywhere from 12 to 40. I mean, they were lined up, and I couldn't see the depth of the column of these people. They were lined up in rows. So I know that it was probably at least 20, but I don't know. Who knows? I mean, it could have been as many as 50. But I know this, you know, they kicked us off, but when this thing took off and went up in the air, those poor souls were still on board. That, you know, that haunts me to this day.
Wow. Yeah, I guess that would. Jeez. Well, thank you, Terry.
Hey,
sure, James. Good to talk to you.
Well, hey, you know what? It seems like we're going to have to get you back on here again in another month. And, you know, I want that next time we get you on, I want you just to go over whatever you feel you need to get out. I'm not going to ask you questions. I just want you to, you know, take an hour and tell the message you want to get out to the people. How's that sound?
Oh, that sounds wonderful. I'd love the opportunity. You know what? And I'll send you copies of this cell phone thing. And I went as far as I've never had a hypnotic regression, but I had one regarding that event. But yeah, I'd really appreciate that, Gary. Get us set up, and we'll do that.
Okay, Terry, I'm going to let you go. I want you to have a great weekend that's coming up, and thank you for coming back on.
Anytime, always a pleasure. I enjoy it. Enjoy your show very much. And tell your listeners, my book is available on Amazon. Incident at Devil's Den. It's in print. With photographs. It's in Kindle, and it's also a good an audio book that I made myself. So with that, I'll say thank you again. Thanks, James. And
yes, thank you.
Shoot me an email. I'm ready whenever you are.
Okay, sir. You have a good one. And again, you have a good night. Again, go and check out his books on Amazon. I tell you, you need to get it. It from everybody who's read it, makes you wonder, yes, I think we're being, abducted, implanted, and there's some motive going on. Well, tomorrow on the show, we have David Pierce on. He's going to be talking about the TV show. You remember Elizabeth Montgomery? Remember the show Bewitched? You remember Darren? Well, tomorrow we're going to talk about it. A little bit different from UFOs and aliens or time travel or cryptics, but it's going to be different. So make sure you tune in tomorrow. Tell your friends about Night Dreams Talk Radio. You can catch us live at www.nightdreamstalkradio.com. March will be at 1380 AM, 105.3 FM. Everybody have a good one. We'll catch you tomorrow.